We went over observation, research, hypothesis, experiments, and now we're going to talk about data. How do we collect data, people?
It's research.
Well, no, data would be from your actual experiment. So how do we collect data so that it's easily readable or somebody can interpret what happened?
We chart everything that happens.
Charting is amazing. Yes, charts. Whoops, these are charts. What else? Our first lab, you're going to do this. What? Graphs, good. What else can you do? What's a great way to really monitor what's going on in your lab the whole time? Record it. That is totally true. Pictures and video really help you look back and find mistakes or really see the moment when something happens. And then just taking notes in general that you can then organize into, datas and charts. Both of these, pictures, videos, notes, can be organized into datas, charts, and graphs. Into charts, tables. Learn this, you're going to get 1 or 2 wrong on the test, okay? Remember that, because it's 30 questions, and I'm putting this on the video. You miss 3, you still have a 90. You miss 4, you're already at the B range, right? So your vocab, that's the part that's easy. You need to learn it. This I consider vocab. So when you're going to choose a graph, you're going to choose a line graph over a bar graph in specific instances. Does anybody know when?
Line graph is when you're showing the growth of something.
It could be, but there could be growth in a bar graph too, right?
Yeah, but bar graph you would be comparing multiple things. It would be easier to see the comparison and stuff. Line graph would be better for time growth.
Time. So you said time and growth. What do time and growth both have in common? They both deal with what? How do you express time and growth? How do you express time? Say time. What time is it? Numbers. Good job. When both of your variables are numbers, so by both variables I mean your independent variable is a number and your dependent variable is a number, you use a line graph. When your variable, one of them is not a number, like color, right? So if I say over time this is going to turn brown, I can't use a line graph. I have to use a bar graph. In addition, when you're graphing, your independent variable goes on the x-axis and your dependent variable goes on the y. Whoops. Doesn't matter how weird it seems, like you want to flip them, independent variable always goes on x, which is the horizontal line. So if you want to add the word horizontal there, and your vertical line, which is your y-axis, is always going to be the dependent variable. So what's the last step of the scientific method? What's the last thing you always do? Here's another test question for you. Conclusion. No matter what, put a little star in your notes. I'm saying it in the video. No matter what, am I recording? Yes. No matter what you do, you always explain. Always, always, always explain what happened. No matter what happened. You don't try to redo it. You explain it first, so when you redo it, you have some kind of foundation. In your conclusion, you always want to tell me if your hypothesis was proven or disproven, accepted or rejected. You want to say that. So, literally you want to get the maximum amount of points on your lab. You start with, in conclusion, my hypothesis was correct. Blah, 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 and you restate your hypothesis. And then you explain what happened. If you don't explain what happened in your lab, you cannot get an A on your lab. You will lose 20 points, which puts you at an 80, which means everything else has to be perfect. If you don't write your conclusions, you lose 40 points. So what's your grade? 60. That's a D. So basically you failed the lab because you didn't take the time to write 4 sentences. So make sure to, I'm giving you the first one. In conclusion, my hypothesis was correct. Blah, 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 blah. Then you restate your data and then you explain why. You get the maximum points. If your explanation is wrong, I'm still going to give you points for trying. If it's really wrong, really wrong, because remember your labs are quiz grades, so you're explaining to me what happened, That's worthy of a quiz grade. So this is your conclusion. 10 points for accepting and rejecting the hypothesis, and add here, restated.
Did you skip the other side?
Yep, I did. 10 points for explaining your data, and then 20 points for explaining why. Total 40 points.